Hi, I'm Charlie from CookingSeekersForMen.com, and in our ongoing series, Cooking with Milwaukee Community Leaders, I want to introduce one of our leaders in education, Anthony McHenry. Anthony, thanks for coming by on a beautiful Saturday morning.
Pleasure to be here.
I know you got a busy schedule today, so we'll get right to it. So you're currently the CEO of the Milwaukee Academy of Sciences. Been there since 2016?
Yes.
2016. So in your time there, the school has become one of the top STEM schools, which is science, technology, engineering, math. I did that right there. And athletics. So talk a little bit about your tenure at the Academy and some of the things that you feel are your greatest contributions so far.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks again for
Sure.
the invitation. And yeah, I think in my almost 8 years now serving as the CEO of Milwaukee Academy of Science, the things that I'm most proud of is the fact that we've been able to create a school that kids who may or may not have families who are encouraging and stressing the importance of education, we've been able to create a school that those kids want to come to school. And part of that is being a STEM school. That allows us the opportunity to create really engaging classroom activities. It allows us the opportunity to create really amazing experiential learning opportunities so that kids have an enthusiasm and excitement about coming to school. And obviously the secret sauce is building a school where your staff absolutely adores the kids and has high expectations for those young people because it's those relationships that really help get kids over the hump. And so the things that I'm most proud of is, again, creating that type of school. But we do have some really positive outcomes that I'd like to share. We are now at 8 consecutive years where 100% of our seniors have graduated.
Wow.
And what that really means is that those who made it to their senior year, they graduated in that June. 100% of those young people were also accepted into post-secondary education, which is important. We want to make sure that our young people have options after high school. But my favorite statistic when it comes to graduation is we have a 4-year cohort graduation rate of 94%. And what that means is of all the young people who entered in our high school as freshmen, 94% of them graduate within 4 years. And when you consider that to a like population in the city of Milwaukee, economically disadvantaged and African American, the statistic for the city is 54%. And we're at 94%.
Wow. So
we're really proud of that. We're really proud that we're serving a population that oftentimes does not have a quality school experience. Mm-hmm. We have over 1,400 kids. Wow. 97% of those kids are what they call economically disadvantaged. But we believe that all of our kids can learn and they will learn if given the proper resources, support, and the high expectations that we provide for our young people.
And you're K through 12?
We are K through 12.
K through 12, great. One of the things, the reason that you're have a busy schedule today is the basketball teams are in championship mode. So why don't you brag on them a little bit?
Yeah, don't mind bragging. So our girls varsity basketball team at 1 o'clock today, they'll be playing in the sectional championships. If they win that game, they might see this. When they win that game, then they will be going to the state tournament.
In Madison.
In Madison, okay. Yes. And they'll be. This will be their 3rd time in the last 5 years going to the state tournament.
Great.
Our boys play at 4 o'clock, and if they win that game, they'll be regional champs and then headed to the sectionals. Last year they were in the state championship game, so we're really excited about our athletics. And the thing that I think we all know as adults is certainly athletics brings a great feel, helps to build the type of culture you want for your school. Mm-hmm. When it's winning and people are proud of being a part of Milwaukee Academy of Science. The other thing, as a CEO, that I like is it brings a lot of attention to our school.
Sure. We get to be on cooking shows.
Yeah, get to be on cooking shows like this. But for me, I've not spent $1 on marketing our school. We want to be a school that educates all kids, so we're not out recruiting students to come to our school.
Right.
And yet we've had 8 consecutive years of record enrollment. A piece of that is the success of our athletic programs, because we've been on the news 3 times for our athletic program by itself. Great publicity for the school.
Before you were at the Milwaukee Academy of Sciences, you spent about 20 years at the Silver Spring Neighborhood Center.
That's correct.
And that was a combination, you worked with a lot of nonprofits there, and a lot of the nonprofits that you worked with were we're working with the youth of our city, it seems to me. So talk a little bit about your work at the center and the work with these nonprofits and how you're trying to affect change, or we're trying to affect change in the city.
I thoroughly enjoyed my time at Silver Spring Neighborhood Center. It's really helped shape my professional career and how I want to spend the remaining years of my professional career. When I graduated from UW-Madison, I only really knew that I wanted to work with young people who were growing up in communities very similar to the one that I grew up in. I grew up in poverty, went to schools that most wouldn't go out of their way to send their kids to. And yet I had some opportunities that allowed me to wind up at an amazing school like UW-Madison. And so one of my early jobs was to work with kids who had been convicted of a crime. And the only way to avoid a prison sentence was to complete my program, which was a very intensive program. And what I learned through that experience was that those young people, literally every single one of them, was making significant changes in their lives. They were denouncing their gang activity, doing their community service, meeting their curfews, doing all the things that we wanted them to do, and yet they were going to schools and failing. And as we all know, that without a high school diploma, their ceiling, their potential, their ability to have a quality life is far too difficult.
Absolutely.
And so I came to Silver Spring Neighborhood Center actually as a teacher, and taught at their alternative middle school that they had at the time, and then became the assistant principal a few years later. Learned the importance of quality teachers. I really believe that a great teacher can teach any kid. A marginal teacher can teach the kids who come ready to learn, but a below marginal teacher won't really provide anybody with a quality education. And unfortunately, with kids who are growing up in poverty, oftentimes they come to school and they're not really ready to learn. When they don't have a great teacher there, then they're going to really struggle. And so I eventually left there and went back to the social service side of Silver Spring Neighborhood Center, where I started creating wraparound programs to help support the kids in that community so that they would be ready to learn, so that they could be able to reach their potentials. And after being there for a number of years, I was the executive director, and we created a program there to really try to take ownership of kids' education, working with the local schools there, but also to provide the wraparound supports that kids need, particularly when they're growing up in poverty, so that they can be at their best when it comes to school. And we had a tremendous time there, Charlie. I love that place. There were periods of time where we were averaging 250 kids in that building every single day, and had some phenomenal outcomes, including we went 10 straight years without a single young lady becoming pregnant, and 9 straight years without a single young man becoming convicted of a felony. And again, we're talking about kids living in poverty in the state's largest low-income housing development. But what that really did was set the stage for me to do what I'm doing at Milwaukee Academy of Science, where we're trying to build a really strong, high-quality STEM school, but provide kids with those social-emotional supports, the wraparound supports that kids in poverty need to be at their best.
Your work with Silver Spring and then at Milwaukee Academy of Science is one of the reasons that you're looked at as a leader in the education field and working with the youth in the community, and the work is greatly appreciated. And by the way, my wife said to say hello. She's out of town, but she said, say hello to Anthony. I've been trying to get a hold of her, kind of set up a schedule or something. I know she wants to try to meet with you, but something wrong. Anyway, so you mentioned you did mention, but you were born and raised in Georgia?
That's correct.
And then you did mention that you went to UW-Madison.
Yes.
Where you got your degree. Mm-hmm. And then you also played football there.
I did.
For, I think, Barry Alvarez was the coach.
That's correct.
Interesting guy.
Yes, he is.
Is he still the AD or has he moved on?
No, he's retired.
Okay, he's retired. So talk about your formative years, what you did, and how that directly relates to how you moved up and how it affected you in your positions both at Silver Spring Neighborhood Center and at MAS.
Yeah. Charlie, I mentioned that I grew up in poverty, and when people hear that, sometimes they think about just kind of the strains and the struggles that come along, and they're real. But what I can say is that I enjoyed my childhood. So oftentimes when you grow up in poverty and everyone else is in poverty too, you don't really know how poor you are. But I had a childhood where I was pushed to do the right things, and quite honestly, I didn't always do that. But what I know, yeah, thanks, Charlie. But what I know for certain is that when you're growing up in situations like the one that I grew up in, and then you have opportunities. For me, it was like athletics to see a different world. You quickly can process that there's more to life than what you've seen, and I went to an all-black elementary school, an all-black middle school, an all-black high school, and then I wound up at UW-Madison. It was a culture shock. It was very, very difficult. Madison is far from all black.
That's an understatement.
Yeah. So it was difficult, but those early years at UW-Madison really exposed me to a very different life, a different world, and more importantly, I had an opportunity to determine whether I was going to fit into that world or not, and I chose to. And so I am very grateful for the opportunities that football gave me. I'm grateful for Barry Alvarez, because I've always said that he can go to any college and win, because he drives people to be their very best. And those are some of the things that has helped me in my life and helped me in my profession. Is one, we got to give kids opportunities.
Sure.
We don't know which of those kids are going to take advantage of it, but we got to give it to all of them. And that's what football and UW-Madison taught me, but also to have really, really high expectations, because Alvarez and the staff there really did put high expectations on all the athletes there, and that helped us to become a really successful football team and now a very successful football program. And those are some of the fundamental things I believe about our team at Milwaukee Academy of Science and what we're doing for our young people there.
Great. So tell us a little about your family.
Yeah, so I again, as you mentioned, I grew up in Georgia. And my father died when I was young, so I have very few but precious memories of my father. And I have what we call a traditional, old school, no nonsense mom, who I'm not afraid to say that I feared for the greater part of my childhood, but who loved me dearly, and really pushed me to be better than the circumstances that I was growing up in. And I had a sister who was 7 years older than me, who functioned much more like a mother than a sister. So I like to say that I spent all of my early years being bossed around by women, and it's helped me to learn to be bossed around by women at my job now and at my home with my beautiful wife Shakira's. But my family, I'm so proud of everyone in my family, and we've made the best out of very difficult situations, and they're so very proud of me, because one of the things that my mother instilled in us was serving other people. There were times where we were facing eviction, and we were really in very, very tough times, and yet we were going to the soup kitchen or the meal program to serve other people. We could have easily been in the line.
Right.
When my mother passed away, I spoke at the funeral, and I asked if my mother has taken care of you, if you lived in our house, if you spent the night in my house, stand up. And Charlie, there had to be 70 people that stood up.
That's amazing.
So the work that I do now in supporting kids and the lengths that I would go to support young people, it's natural. I can't take credit for it because I've seen it all my life. My mom was doing that in the midst of our challenges.
Well, your mom would be very proud of where you are today. So this series that we do, Cooking with Milwaukee Community Leaders, is serious people with serious jobs having a little fun. So what are we cooking today?
We are cooking what my wife calls McHenrys famous chili. Now I say that, Charlie, only 3 people have had this chili. And
I'm going to be 4.
You're going to be 4. But they all say, all 3 of them say it's good.
Okay.
And I'm looking forward to it. Let's have some fun.
Absolutely.
And we'll see if you co-sign with them and say that it's actually pretty good.
sure I'll like it. It's a beautiful day here in Milwaukee, but it is winter, so chili always goes well in wintertime. So we're going to have some in just a second. So let us get set up over at the cooking area. and we'll be back in just a minute. All right, so Anthony is going to show us how he does his McHenry chili, but before, as I always do, forget to give our guest an apron. So here's the apron for you.
Thank you, sir.
We don't want you to get your clothes all. You don't want to go to the basketball games with chili all over yourself. So
Yeah, that wouldn't be good.
So we'll go ahead and get started. So we've got some oil heating, and we're going to go ahead and take it away.
All right, we'll get started with, we got some turkey meat here.
Ground turkey. You can use ground beef or ground turkey. All right. Sizzle. Like to hear that. So we'll get all the pink out of that.
Yep.
Obviously.
Get it going. We're actually going to add the seasoning in.
Okay. Which season you want to use? We have choices.
Let's go with, we're using noodles, we'll go with the Cincinnati.
Cincinnati chili.
Yeah.
Alright, so we're going to use the Cincinnati spice. It's Cincinnati, you can get that at most Kroger stores or on the intranet, on Amazon. This is a little sweeter than most, but it is.
Awesome, thank you. And from what I have learned from my good buddy here is that chili with noodles is a Cincinnati thing that we are doing here in Milwaukee.
Right, so you're going to have pasta, which is on the back burner, ready to roll. So the chili's going to be on the pasta. We're going to have onions, peppers, all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah. If you want it to be McHenry's famous chili, you don't want to dominate it with the pasta because then it starts to feel like spaghetti. So we want the main thing to be the chili.
Great color so far.
Yep, yep. So we're going to go ahead and add in the veggies next.
Onions.
Onions, which is a must. A little more, all right. Peppers next.
Red bell peppers.
Love what this brings to it. And I like mine a little chili, a little thick. So I tend to go maybe a little heavier than most. I'm a mushroom guy, so we have to have mushrooms.
Yeah.
And then tomatoes. Nice tomatoes.
Get our aromatics in.
Let this cook a little bit longer, and then we'll start to add in some more of the seasoning and the chili. All right, so we have 2 cups normal chili.
Yeah. So this is Carmel chili with beans.
With beans, thank you.
So to the no beans and chili crowd, don't need to comment, don't care. We have chili and beans, so you don't need to put it in yours. We're putting it in ours.
We're just going to assume that if they was here, they would fall in love with it. I'm going to add some of the seasoning. So, we got chili pepper.
Yeah, it's just chili powder.
Add some chili powder.
Regular chili powder. Your garden variety.
For the health people, we're going to go light on the salt. A little heavier on the pepper.
Good thing.
And mute me or close your eyes if you try to avoid sugar, because we got to put some of this brown sugar in here. Not too much, not too much.
Like a couple teaspoons.
Yep.
Okay.
A couple of teaspoons and we are good.
All right.
Nice
Quick
and
and easy.
thick.
That's what we like. So let it simmer for a minute or two while we get the dish together. And then Anthony, I think we have to test it.
We have to test it.
Okay, so we'll put the dish together, we'll sit down and test it, and we'll be back in just a minute. All right, so we've put our chili together. So Anthony, tell us what we got here.
We have McHenry's famous chili over some spaghetti noodles, and look good. Hopefully it tastes good. Oh, we have cornbread as well.
And we have some cornbread. Can't have chili without cornbread.
Chili
So
without cornbread.
all you people, Skyline and Gold Star, if you're listening, this would be a great addition to the menu. Just saying. All right, so I always I just keep forgetting to give people the stupid apron, because as I've mentioned several times, serious people with serious jobs come here. We talk about their community work. They cook something, and then I get to eat it, and they get an apron. So it's a good thing for me.
Win-win situation.
Oh, we have some hot sauce too. Do you want any hot sauce?
I don't need hot sauce.
Yeah, why don't you grab me a little? I'm just gonna put a little dab on, a little Tabasco. That's it, a couple drops. I'd offer you a beer, but as an educator who's going to see a bunch of your athletes,
we'll
hold off on that. We'll hold off on that
next time.
Next time, yes, absolutely. Little McHenry Cincinnati style chili.
What you think, John?
No, it's delicious. It's thick. It's not runny. The pasta complements instead of is the main thing. It's just something to twirl with your. Very good.
I agree.
I better see if this cornbread's any good. I'm gonna bet it is.
It looks great. Tastes great.
It's delicious. This is, well, it's 10 o'clock in the morning here, but this may be my lunch. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to finish this. So, Anthony, thank you so much for coming by. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure. Thanks for
I
having
know
me.
you got a really busy day and you got to fit this in, but we'd say, what's the mascot of your team?
Novus.
Go Novus.
Go Novus.
Boys and girls in the championship basketball games today, and hopefully we'll have good news by this evening that both of them are moving on. So, on our ongoing series, Cooking with Milwaukee Community Leaders, thanks so much for watching. We appreciate your support. Please like and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.
Great publicity for the school.
It is. Before you were at Milwaukee Academy of Sciences, we'll wait till this stops. One thing we can do here is edit.
Nice.
Well, that is. So where are the boys playing?
Waukesha North. We're supposed to be hosting the game, but we got complaints that our gym is too small, so they forced us to move our games. We're at Waukesha North.
All right, there. All right, so before you were at McHenrys, see, there's a blooper, and it'll be edited.
Hope everyone in my family, and we've made the best out of very difficult situations.